Good day and welcome to Dub's Paradise. I'm Dub, short for Big Dub, and remember, at some point, you must recognize what world you belong to, what power rules it, and from what source you spring from. Today we're going to talk about the second game of the MLB Seoul series. We're going to recap the Leafs and the Capitals game from last night and go into a bit of NHL news. We'll discuss some NBA results from last night and give a bit of a preview of the Miami Open. Then we'll wrap up with picking my women's March Madness bracket. So today, another early game took place in Korea. It was the exact opposite of yesterday's game. Yesterday's game was 5-2 Dodgers, and this game today was 15-11 for the Dodgers. So if you wanted high-powered offense, then you sure got it. The crowd in Korea were, well, I heard that they don't really get on their feet too much. I don't know the purpose for that, but they were cheering them on. They were celebrating all the players' hits. Padres got 17 hits, Dodgers got 16 hits, and it was just one of those games where the Padres got up 5-0 after the first inning, and then Dodgers tried to come back, but then Dodgers kept scoring. It was like 5-2, and then Dodgers came, and then it was like maybe like 9-2. Then Dodgers made it 7-7 or 9-6, etc., etc. It was even 12-11 for the Padres at some point until Manny Machado hit a bomb home run. And I knew from the beginning that the ballpark in Korea, they call it the Sky Dome, the something Sky Dome, and that just reminded me of how the Blue Jays Stadium used to be called the Sky Dome. Now it's the Rogers Center. Sad, but like Rogers could have bought that and still made it Sky Dome, because Sky Dome is one of the best names for a baseball diamond, where the roof opens up. But yeah, Manny Machado hit a 3-run bomb, and Mookie Betts also hit a 3-run home run or a 2-run home run, and Shohei just missed hitting a couple of home runs today. A few long pop outs for a few other players, and turned out to be a lot of line drives, a lot of singles. The Dodgers got 3 errors against them. Max Muncy had a tough game at third base, allowed a few runs to score. But I guess that's similar to what happened with Cronenworth yesterday, how the ball went through his glove and allowed the Dodgers to come back and win that game. So it was the Major League debut, technically, of Yamamoto. And he got roughed up. Like I said yesterday, he got roughed up in the second spring training start. And this his first start this season, for the official season beginning, he allowed 5 runs in the first inning. It was tough. He was struggling. Only his cutter was working for him for the first inning. His curveball wasn't locating, fastball wasn't locating, slider wasn't locating. And when he did locate, they got hits off him. So I guess, I don't know if it's anything to be worried about. I mean, it's his first major league start. He's playing in front of, nearby his hometown. A lot of people are watching him to see what he's going to do. It's a lot of pressure. And I guess it was just a bit too much for him. I expect him to do well for this season. Hopefully he wouldn't allow 5 runs in the first inning of every game. But this was a rough start for sure. Not how you wanted your debut to go. So maybe when he makes his first start on the road somewhere in the States or at home at Dodger Stadium, he should do better. I hope he does better for his sake and the Dodgers' sake, even though they don't really need anyone's hope. They paid for this team, and they have to live with the results. But it was also just one of those games because, like I said, the final score was 15-11. So even on the Padres side, even continuing after Yamamoto left the game, Dodgers pitchers allowed runs to score, allowed like Xander Bogaerts, allowed Tatis, Cronenworth went 4 for 4 with like 4 RBI, and Machado's home run could have they all could have been prevented by Dodgers relievers who didn't really get taxed yesterday's game, so they should have been well today. And even the Padres, Joe Musgrove, he only lasted into the third inning, pitched 2.2 innings and allowed 5 runs. So he didn't have his strongest start either. So yeah, I wouldn't say there's too much to worry about when it comes to Yamamoto. If you haven't picked for Rookie of the Year, you maybe are feeling a bit nervous, but I still haven't given my predictions yet, and I wouldn't say this has anything to do with it, but it wouldn't be a good start if anyone was betting on who will win Rookie of the Year in the National League. So now they're gonna go back to America. I believe they're probably gonna play a couple more spring training games, and then get ready for the official opening day next week, Thursday, 28th. Blue Jays starting off their season playing Tampa Bay. Of course, they're on the road. I'm not sure if the Rogers Center is fully ready yet. Like last season, they were on the road for like the first 3 series because the Rogers Center wasn't ready. And of course, seems like the same sort of issue. They're finishing some last touch renovations. So hopefully the players can get used to it. Last year, it seemed like they were struggling with the dimensions, like with the outfield wall, etc. So it's tough for them to hit, maybe tough for them to get a gist of what they're looking at, what they're trying to aim for in the background, or I guess in the foreground. So we'll see how they do. First series against the Rays. Rays, of course, are the Blue Jays' AL East nemesis, along with the Yankees, everyone else, especially Baltimore and the Red Sox. But it seems like the Rays always have our number. Rays, they should be, as usual, a good team. The AL East should be a really deep division this year, where all 5 teams have a chance. The Rays honestly might be the lowest ranked team, I would say. I mean, maybe Boston. Maybe Boston didn't really have any starting pitching, but they do have some offense, a bit of offense. Maybe Boston would be last place in the AL East. The Blue Jays have the offense, they have the pitching staff to win a lot of games, to compete with the Yankees, Baltimore, and Tampa Bay, but it's just trying to perform when it matters. So we'll see how they do this season. It's still so next week for sure is when I'm gonna officially start my predictions. MLB week is gonna be next week for me. You're gonna see my 2 jerseys change to MLB jerseys, and I'll start giving my predictions for maybe World Series winner, division winners, and all the individual awards. It's gonna be fun. I mean, this show maybe should be called Dub's Always Right, but I'm not always right. But I feel like that 6-2 prediction for the Dodgers was pretty good. I mean, I didn't predict today's game, but I probably wouldn't have predicted 15-11 Padres. I've been a bit right, a bit wrong about my European football predictions. It's been a while since I talked about football, so I just gotta clarify that football means European football, as Americans call soccer. Right now they're on international break, so yeah, it's been quite quiet in the world of football. One thing, though, Formula One is going to be back this week. They're in Australia. I'll go into that tomorrow. I got to prepare for what I'm going to be thinking about. I don't want to improvise too much. If you're in Canada, Eastern time zone, it's going to be at midnight. The race qualifying is going to be at 1 a.m. So the race is going to be midnight Sunday. So let's just say 12:01 Sunday morning, 24th, and qualifying is going to be 1 a.m. 23rd, Saturday. They're going to be practicing 2 practice sessions tomorrow and one before the race or one before qualifying on Saturday. And we'll see how that goes. There's just been so much controversy in the world of F1 these days that it's starting to look like everything's gonna be a sham. I don't know. The races are fun, but behind closed doors, it's like, what's going on with these people, with all the money, with all the corruptness that's going on in every sports world these days, especially a sport like Formula One, where a lot of their money comes from, the Middle East and all that. Which I don't want to speculate too much, but it has a lot to do with that, most likely. Red Bull been around a lot of controversy. Ferrari is just trying to win races. Mercedes just trying to get past Q3 in qualifying. McLaren, Aston Martin doing their best. But we'll see what happens this race. Obviously, it's most likely going to be a Max Verstappen win. Checo, maybe Ferrari second and Checo third. Carlos Sainz going to be back for Ferrari, so he should do well too. So it should be a tight battle for top 3 or top 2 at least. Or it should be a battle for second and third, unless Checo goes off again and dominates for second place. Then it should be a good battle for third. Hopefully there's at least some good battles on the track for fourth and fifth, even though the podium is probably going to be predictable. Going to be hearing first the Dutch national anthem for Max, and then we're going to be hearing the Austrian national anthem for Red Bull. Typical, but they're good national anthems, and I'm probably going to be memorizing them before I memorize Canada's national anthem. But that's just a joke. I memorized Canada's. Memorize France maybe a bit. Memorize Germany. Memorize the French anthem for Canada, which honestly is better than the English version. It makes more sense as far as trying to be a nationalist goes for your country. The French anthem makes more sense, I believe. But hey. We'll go into more Formula One tomorrow, but for now, we'll talk about the Leafs and the Caps game and a bit of NHL. So the Caps, 2 games ago, not including last game, 2 games ago against Carolina, they were up 4-2, and they blew that lead. Against the Flyers, before last game, they were down 3-0 before you even blinked, they were down early before you even blinked, and then ended up losing 4-3, which is not a good showing for a team like the Leafs. But Marner is out, and they had a graphic on the game yesterday saying that without Marner, the Leafs have the worst record compared to when other players of their core 4 plus Morgan Riley are out. So, and as you know, they were without Morgan Riley for 5 straight games due to his suspension, and they won all 5 straight. They won 5 straight games without him. So Mitch Marner has to come back as soon as possible. But yesterday against the Capitals, I was trying to be unbiased. The only thing I found myself being biased for was that I found myself a bit rooting for the Caps more. I want them to make the playoffs, I suppose. So, and they were at home. If the Leafs were at home, maybe I'll cheer for them more. But the Caps, I'm just like I gotta see my reaction if the Leafs win the Stanley Cup. But the Caps, we'll see. I've always been torn between the Leafs and the Caps, but I find myself rooting for Ovechkin more because he's my favorite athlete. So that's just it. But yeah, the Leafs scored. Austin Matthews got his 56th goal after 16 seconds into the first period. They kept the lead going. It was 1-0, I believe. Or well, the Leafs came out very strong. They ended up going up 3-0. They allowed another. The Leafs scored a quick goal again in the second period, and then the Caps made it 3-1. But Ovi scored. Yep, Ovi scored to make it 3-1 on a wicked angle. Nylander scored on a wicked shot. So all the stars came out flying yesterday. Matthews scored 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points last night. Nylander got 3 points. Or was it just 2 points? I think it was 3. And Ovechkin scored twice. 2 great goals. And Ovechkin now only has 49 more goals until he catches Wayne Gretzky. So he could probably make it to by the end of the season. Maybe he could only need 40 goals next season to catch Wayne Gretzky. And believe me, he's gonna get it. He's gonna try his best to get it next season. So if he only has 40 to go, hopefully he'll get it. This has been like everyone said he was washed up, but he just was snake bit early on. For the first half, he was snake bit. Cause this is not. We know Ovechkin is better than only scoring 23. I think he had 23 now. He's much better than that. Obviously, say I don't gotta defend him at all. Everyone is saying Austin Matthews, who scored twice now, has 58 goals. He got a hat trick taken away from him last night due to Bertuzzi being offside by a millimeter, but still offside. It was a good challenge by the Caps' coach. But I'm torn. I don't want to be cheering against Austin Matthews, and I want him to score. Like I said, I need him to do well for my fantasy team's sake. But I just want Ovechkin to have the record of 65 goals for as long as possible. And he had it for a long time. And like I've said before, if anyone breaks it, I guess I want it to be Austin Matthews. He's on the Leafs. He's one of my favorite players, of course. But as far as Leafs players go, I like Nylander more. But it's good to see Austin Matthews doing well. But the Leafs should be a better team. When Ovechkin was scoring goals, getting awards, etc., the Caps were President's Trophy winners year in, year out. Close to President's Trophy winners year in, year out. Didn't do work in the playoffs, but the Leafs don't do anything in the playoffs either. So the Leafs this year, they have to do work in the playoffs. They don't want to get pushed around by Boston or Florida, whoever they face. They seem to be much tougher. Those Boston and Florida seem to be much tougher than the Leafs. But Bertuzzi, Domi, the fourth line, third line, they gotta score goals when needed, and they have to be physical. The defense has to hit, block shots, clear the net, just show some life. So right now, as it stands, Tampa Bay should be safe to make the playoffs. They have 80 points, and they're a good team, and should be clear of the last wild card spot. The Wings currently are the second wild card team, but the Flyers are third place in the Metropolitan Division, and the Wings, could catch them. The Caps could catch them. The Islanders could catch them. And yeah, the order is: the Wings are second place in the wild card. The Caps are right behind them. Islanders, Sabres, Devils, Pens all have a chance to make the playoffs. If whoever goes hot, obviously I want the Caps to make it. But New Jersey Devils, they made a trade for goaltender Jake Allen, and so far he's been on fire. So if they can go on a nice hot streak, their team, Hughes, Timo Meier, Jesper Bratt, they have a good team. So if they can score goals, get some good goaltending down the stretch, they can get hot and make the playoffs and be a threat for sure. But hey, maybe the Flyers, who are currently third in the Metro, maybe they'll choke it out, and maybe the Devils or the Caps can be third in the Metro and then get the second wild card spot. So I'll be happy with that. The Islanders, like, I'm not a fan of. Sabres, obviously not a fan of. Penguins, like, oh man, I don't want to talk about the Penguins. They're just my least favorite team in sports. Maybe besides like Duke, maybe besides like the Bengals, but like the Bengals have like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, like I said before, so it's tough. We'll see what happens. The Western Conference playoffs, they're a bit tighter with a bit better teams. Yeah, right now Vegas is has control of the second wild card spot in the Western Conference. Minnesota is 3 points behind. St. Louis 4 points behind. And Calgary might have a chance, but I doubt it. But like the Central Division and Pacific Division seem to be all, like, they seem to be clear of being in danger of missing the playoffs. Like the Kings right now hold the third spot in the Pacific, and Vegas would be 4 points behind them, which they could catch up. Vegas is, always a strong team. The Kings have been inconsistent this year, just like Vegas, I suppose. Vegas has some guys on the long-term IR, which they tend to do every season. So they might just make the playoffs, second wildcard spot, and then do some damage, like they plan to do. But the Central Division seems to be wrapped up. But the race for first place is gonna be tight. You got the Jets with 93 points. You got the Colorado Avalanche with 93 points. And you got Dallas Stars with 93 points. And Colorado currently on a 7-game winning streak. So it's going to be fun to see which team wins that. But it's going to be, whoever wins that division is also going to have to probably face Vegas in the first round as things stand. But Vancouver currently has 94 points, so they might face Vegas in the first round. And that's probably Vegas's plan. Just make it into the playoffs and then do work from there, because I would not want to face Vegas in the first round. They're like the Miami Heat. They just kind of floating around, just barely making the playoffs in the regular season, and then in the playoffs time, they just flip the switch just like that and go on a tear. So speaking of the NBA, last night the Raptors lost their 8th straight game at home. Everyone saw that coming, but they got blown out. Like King starters, Sabonis, Fox, etc. They didn't even play 30 minutes. I'm pretty sure Sabonis and Fox sat the entire fourth quarter, and Sabonis had a triple-double. Fox had a good stat line too. And the Kings are a good team. They're a good team, but the Raptors, I guess they're tanking. To be losing by that many points at home, it's like the fans pay to watch you guys play, to watch Raptors play, and to be losing by that many points, to not even have like the Kings star players playing in the fourth quarter, it's disappointing. Like they want to put on a better show than that. So last night I predicted that the Bucks would go on the road and beat the Celtics, and I thought that Giannis was gonna play, but he didn't play. I found that out after I released the episode of Dub's Paradise. So the Celtics won that game 122-119. Lillard tried his best. He had 32 points, but it was just too. But Tatum had a much better supporting cast, and he had another MVP performance. It was a close game, but the home court probably pushed Boston over the edge in that. Hopefully Giannis' injury isn't too serious, because I think now he's missed like back-to-back games, or maybe 3 straight games he's missed. So hopefully he can be back, to help the Celtics, or to help the Bucks get some chemistry going before the playoffs start, which is just around the corner. So it's going to be April. Almost going to be playoff time. Tonight in the NBA, there's not much big games. the one major game is going to be the Knicks on the road versus Denver. That's going to be a good game. Denver should probably win that. They're at home, trying to win the Western Conference. They have the MVP on their team, Nikola Jokic. I think on the Knicks side, Anunoby is back to being out. So it's going to be Brunson, like DiVincenzo, Precious Achua, just trying their best to stop Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. So Denver should win that game and go back to being first place in the West. If they win tonight, they will be first place. OKC is off. So yeah. Just back to the NHL for a bit. Well, the Leafs' next game is against Edmonton on Saturday. There's going to be maybe some controversy about who starts that game between Joseph Woll and Ilya Samsonov. The Leafs just got to play better defense because like Samsonov had a great game going against Carolina. The Leafs couldn't touch the puck to end the game and end up costing him 2 extra goals to make it 4-4, and not only that, but taking a loss in overtime. I mean, Joseph Woll played relatively well yesterday, but allowing 3 goals on 18 shots, he should do better than that. So I would say probably Samsonov will start against Edmonton. Tonight in the NHL, Boston's facing the Rangers. That should be a good game. Detroit playing the Islanders, playoff spot on the line. The Devils, like I said, they're on fire right now, playing Winnipeg. Carolina playing the Flyers. That should be a good game too. A lot of games on tonight. It's a hockey night and a ball night tonight. Okay, so after an exciting Indian Wells, all the stars are gonna be in Miami for the Miami Open. I'll cover this a bit briefly, just give a bit of talk and a bit of predictions. So as usual for the Americans, I want them to do well. They should do well. They're on home court. The crowd will be with them, but it's just to have their own motivation compared to other people's motivation. I expect the usual Americans to go far. Tommy Paul went far, so hopefully he can build off that performance and go far again. Taylor Fritz kind of left the tournament a bit early by his standards, so he should do well. He should make it maybe the quarterfinals would be good for Fritz in Miami. And the others, Shelton, he might get a few wins. Eubanks could win like 1. On the women's side, Coco Gauff, Pegula, they should both do well. And the rest, like Madison Keys, Navarro, Sloane Stevens, they should do well. The Canadians, like Felix playing today, he might win that and lose his next match. Shapovalov won yesterday. He might, I don't know how well he'll do either. He might win a next match and then bow out. It's sad to say. The Canadians, they got to do better. Who are the Canadians? Is Layla playing? No Layla Fernandez and no. Oh yeah, there she is. She's playing a third round of 64 against Arango. I haven't really heard of Arango. Maybe Layla can get past her. And I believe she's the only Canadian woman, in the Miami Open. I don't see Andreescu. So Layla should get 1 win and then see how far she can get. But she's definitely going to have to face a tough player in the second round because she's so low ranked, unfortunately. But she had a good run a few years ago. But I guess it's just catching up to her now. It's just tough. She might do well again in Canada once that ATP 1000 or WTA and ATP 1000 comes along for the National Bank Open. But she might do well in some WTA 500s or some 250s just to get some confidence going. See if she still has it. So yeah, like the Americans, the Canadians, I wouldn't even say they're my favorite players. Like, I like Sinner, I like Medvedev, Zverev, Alcaraz, they're all great, fun to watch. Just want Canada to win just so they can show some life, but they haven't been showing some life at all. On the women's side, hopefully Osaka goes far. Hopefully Ostapenko, Rybakina, Svitolina, hopefully they can do well. Osaka won last night, and I said I wanted her and Svitolina to do well in the competition, but their next match is against each other, so we'll see who wins that. Hopefully Gael Monfils does well. He's playing today, late night. That should be a good match for him. So we'll see. Tomorrow, it's gonna be like the main matchups are gonna be decided for the men's side. Like, we're gonna see who the top players are gonna be playing. So far, it's so tough to win like the Sunshine Double, where you win Indian Wells and Miami back to back. I'm not sure who's ever done it. Maybe like Nadal or Djokovic, Federer, those legends. So can Alcaraz and Swiatek complete the Sunshine Double? We'll see. Alcaraz won Indian Wells last year and he couldn't do back to back at Miami. So, like, I may seem like a fool again to pick against Alcaraz and Swiatek because they just dominate every single match, but I'm gonna stick with my boy Yannick Sinner, and I'll stick with Coco Gauff on the women's side to win Miami Open. Hopefully Medvedev might surprise and win. Maybe. Well, I'm not too big on many of the women. Like the women who I like to watch probably won't go too far. Like Osaka, Ostapenko, Rybakina. I'm not a big fan of Rybakina, but like Svitolina. Karolina Muchova has been injured and hasn't been playing this year so far. Hopefully she comes back strong. But Gauff, I probably pick Gauff to win. Number 2 seed Aryna Sabalenka, she's playing. You might have heard that her partner, her boyfriend, named Konstantin, I believe he was a Belarus national. He passed away the other day. Apparently it was that he jumped off the balcony in Miami, and I guess I'll just leave it at that. This is not like a show to mourn people, but that's just what happened. I don't know if there's any speculation about what happened, but that is what happened according to Miami police. He was in Miami, and the story is he jumped off the balcony. So Sabalenka's gonna have to play with that on her mind. She's playing Badosa next, and you all know that I feel Badosa is kind of overrated. Doesn't really care so much, or doesn't really put a lot of effort into maybe training or trying to win. But Sabalenka might have some distractions. But to be a tennis player, you do have to have a strong mind, a strong willpower, strong body, of course. So Sabalenka is probably going to be even more motivated to do well and try to win in memory of her partner. So yesterday you saw my bracket for the men's tournament, and I picked North Carolina to win that. Today we'll pick my bracket for the women's tournament, and this once again is just going to be complete guesses, because while I've followed along with the season, I don't really know too much about the women's college basketball except for some of the obvious stars. So this is just going to be a bracket of probably picking the favorites and seeing which schools I like to maybe make some upsets. South Carolina, North Carolina. I love UNC, and they're higher ranked than Michigan State, so I'll go with them. Both men and women should make it out of the first round. Oklahoma, sure. Indiana, Nebraska, or Texas A&M. What do you think? Like, if you're a high ranking women's seed, is it like the number one is never lose, but maybe like these closer seeds could have some upsets? I'll pick Texas A&M. I'll pick Oregon State. And I'll pick Marquette and Notre Dame. I'll go with Texas. I'll go with Florida State. I'll go Utah. I'll go Gonzaga. I'll go Tennessee. Tennessee on the men's side, they should do well too. They should be a good school. NC State. Iowa State. Maryland. Yeah, I'll go with Iowa State. I think I heard a couple of I think they want to perform. They didn't want just Iowa, Caitlin Clark to put on for Iowa, so Iowa State might do well. And then I'll pick Stanford. Then I'll go Iowa, Caitlin Clark. I'll go Princeton. I picked Yale in the men's bracket, so I'll go Princeton. This bracket, pick the Ivy League schools. Colorado or Drake. I guess Colorado. I pick Kansas State. I pick Louisville. I pick LSU. I pick UNLV just to not pick every favorite. And then I'll pick UCLA. I'll pick USC. I'll pick Kansas. I'll pick Baylor. I'll take Virginia Tech. Syracuse, historic school. UConn, men and women should both do well. I'll pick Duke to get upset. I'll pick Richmond in this game. They have a creepy logo, but I'll pick Richmond. Okay, so South Carolina, North Carolina, like I gotta pick South Carolina. I'll go Indiana. I don't know. I'll go with Oregon State. I'll go with Notre Dame. I'll go Texas. I'll go Utah. I'll go Tennessee. And I'll go Stanford. I'll go Caitlin Clark continues to win with Iowa. I'll go Kansas State. I'll go LSU. Angel Reese. And I'll pick UCLA. Then I'll take USC. Baylor. UConn. Ohio State. Now let's see who's going to get to the Elite Eight. I'll go South Carolina. I'll go Notre Dame. I'll go Texas. And I'll go Stanford. I'll pick Iowa. I want to see a rematch of last year's national championship, so I'll pick LSU. I'll go USC. Then I'll go Ohio State. I'll pick South Carolina. I'll pick Stanford. Iowa versus LSU. You think they can get revenge, Iowa? Get to the Final Four? This is a tough pick. LSU, I'll go with Iowa. Caitlin Clark's having that historic season, her historic career. She's going to want to go, LSU's been having some trouble. Some, they always, I don't know, seem to be, I don't know, getting into fights and arguments on the court. They might get rattled, and I'll pick USC. I'll go. So my final four: South Carolina, Stanford, Iowa, USC. I'll go South Carolina. Iowa lost some games, lost some close games. I'll go US. I'll go USC. But do I want to stick with USC? I'll go Ohio State. I'll go. Yeah, pick South Carolina. I'll pick Ohio State. And then South Carolina, number one. How much points would be scored in the championship game? I picked 138 for the men yesterday. I'll go 138 again. Maybe I'll go 10 points less, 10 fewer points. 128 for the women. So bam. Bracket submitted. South Carolina Gamecocks to win. So we'll see. It's going to be a big weekend in college basketball. One of the best weekends in sports, when by Saturday or by Sunday night, we're going to see whose brackets are busted and who's still alive. A lot of upsets could happen. Most likely will happen. My bracket is probably going to be busted, but I hope my final four stays intact. Who was my bracket for the men's side? My final four was... My final four for the men, once again, was... Okay, my final four was UConn versus North Carolina, Houston versus Tennessee, and then North Carolina beats Houston in the national championship game. Let's go North Carolina. All right. So tomorrow we'll talk about more Indian Wells. We're going to talk about Miami Open. We're going to talk about the Australian Grand Prix. Talk about whatever news comes up, or recap the night of NBA and NHL. And we'll see how the week ahead shapes up. So, thanks for watching this episode of Dub's Paradise. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know any thoughts you might have. Let me know what you want me to talk about. I'd appreciate any sort of feedback. If you're watching this, remember to have a great day.